Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Broken news. Coming up, Brandon Sanderson's feelings on Magic, a popular plane has been rebranded, and professional wrestlers playing Magic. It's 2026, and with a year's worth of hindsight, we're looking back at Magic the Gathering headlines from December 24 to February 2025. Link to all the articles in the description below, and obviously this is only one man's perspective, so feel free to give your thoughts in the comments as we go. Up first. The 4th of December, Wargamer.com. MTG reveals gorgeous Innistrad cards but admits to awkward printing goof. This is an article which talks about the printing errors in the upcoming at the time Innistrad Remastered, where a small number of play boosters have misprinted double-faced cards. A year on, I don't believe there's been much complaint about this specific issue. WotC told people the cards would still be legal in limited environments and just to treat the misprinted backsides as if they were the correct card. I would say this is further evidence of WotC's lack of quality control, presumably as a result of their rush to put out product, but I'm sure mistakes like this are just a one-off. The 8th of December, thepopverse.com. Wizards of the Coast retcons back a beloved and funny mistake from the early days of Magic the Gathering back into the game and tells the whole story behind it, which is an article recounting the story of how the artist of Hyalopterus Lemure drew the creature to look a bit like a lemur, instead of the spirit creature Lemure that was accurately depicted on later reprints of the card. But this fun mix-up is now referenced in both the art and flavour text of the card Preposterous Proportions from Foundations in the fact that those are lemurs. What a good card from a good set. The 10th of December, Wizards.com. Avishcan't, Why We Changed the Name of a Plane is an article WotC published explaining why the plane previously known as Kaladesh would be having its name changed to Avishcan't. They said when first creating the plane they chose the word Kala as a word that can mean tomorrow or art combined with Desh meaning home or country. Unfortunately, the term Kala can also be associated with the meaning black and often carries a derogatory colorist and racist connotations when applied to a person. They go on to say, we didn't want that connotation to hang over the plane each time we visited it. Instead, we decided to take Aetherdrift as our opportunity to implement a new name. And they then say for a new name they selected Avishcan't from the Hindi word Avishkar, meaning invention. Now there was some mild controversy over this change, with some pointing out that just because the word Kala exists and is offensive, doesn't mean the word Kala should be considered offensive too, and that the name change isn't required as Kaladesh clearly isn't based on the offensive word and people could just learn to pronounce it properly, something I'm probably not demonstrating very well right now. While others pointed out that while WotC chose not to go that route, in terms of retconning the plane so it was always named Avishcan't, and instead said the name of the set Kaladesh remains Kaladesh, Kaladesh Remastered will still be searchable as Kaladesh Remastered, and past cards like Invasion of Kaladesh or Chandra Fire of Kaladesh will keep those names. That this was a sign of hypocrisy, because either the word is offensive enough that it needs changing, or it isn't. But if you ask me, better safe than sorry, and I think the reason why the name was changed in Aetherdrift is less important than whether it makes sense narratively. And given the history of political upheaval on the plane in recent canonical events, I think the name change makes perfect sense. The 10th of December, Pioneer Masters releases. It's a digital-only reprint set for Arena, but forget about that, we've got other sets coming. The 10th of December, comicbook.com. WWE's Becky Lynch is battling DCU's Blue Beetle in Magic the Gathering, which talks about WWE performer Becky Lynch playing Magic with someone from the Blue Beetle and Cobra Kai who wasn't important enough to have his name in the headline, or even get his face in an image like in this similar article from SEScoops.com. I don't really have anything to say about this, but I found a surprising number of articles and publications discussing it, so it must have been a big deal to someone. If that's you, here you go. The 16th of December, Wizards.com. Banned and restricted announcement December 16, 2024, in which after months of it being a problem, the One Ring is finally banned in Modern. Something many in the player base were crying out for after the card famously reached the insane height of appearing in 60% of Modern decks, with number 3 on the list, Gigantha, also getting banned, while number 2, Flage, survives and is still Modern legal as of time of recording. The 30th of December, StarCityGames.com. Sanderson says Universes Beyond Cosmere set probably something that will happen. And if that's true, Brandon Sanderson must love Magic the Gathering. Sanderson is an author best known for the Mistborn saga, the Stormlight Archive, and The Children of the Nameless, which is a canonical magic novel starring the planeswalker Davriel Kane set on Innistrad. I'd highly recommend. As the article mentions, Sanderson was asked by a fan at a convention if he'd feature his work in Universes Beyond, to which he replied, "I'd be open to the idea. In fact, when they, Wizards of the Coast, were first exploring Universes Beyond, they came to me and said, 'Hey, would you be interested in doing one of these?' And I wrote back and said yes. Then I didn't hear back from them, which is not uncommon from them. Wizards is a big company." Going on to explain that perhaps WotC have picked larger IPs like Marvel and Lord of the Rings to feature before his own work. And given what we now know a year on, looks like that may have been the case. Either way, is a Cosmere set something that you would be interested in? Let me know in the comments. The 10th of January, Wizards.com. What is Secret Lair Chaos Vault? In which Blake Rasmussen explains, "It's a anything goes spot for us to stretch our creative muscles and just do one-off, cool, weird things. Chaos is right in the name, so you can expect the unexpected here. From launching sales at unusual times to experimentation to offering up unusual items. We heard you like hats. The Chaos Vault will not disappoint those looking for a storefront with a little something extra." A year on, let's see what kind of something extra the Chaos Vault provides. Oh, it's a bunch of secret layers that are all identical. All contain the exact same cards but are priced differently. So this one here is $9.99 for instance, and as you can see is no longer available. But this one is $34.99 and contains the exact same cards, with the only difference being it's more expensive and is still available. I guess for any mug willing to pay 3.5 times as much for the same product just because WotC want them to. Manipulative is a word that springs to mind. Money for old rope is another. Predatory, exploitative. What an evil, guaranteed feel-bad way to sell these cards to anyone who wants them. How can they claim the cheaper bundle is out of stock when it's literally identical to the more expensive one which was still available during the making of this video? Perhaps you could view selling a limited quantity of the exact same thing at a cheaper price as some kind of early bird reward bonus, but then I would question who's getting rewarded there. Is it bots? Because from where I'm sat, Chaos Vault just looks like an incentive program for scalpers. No thanks. I went back to get some screenshots the very next day, and as you can see they're all now sold out. I don't believe that, to be honest. I suspect WotC just took down the unsold stock to further imply the ones that were sold were a hot commodity, further creating a sense of FOMO for the next time they pull this stunt. Gross. The 18th of January, Wargamer.com. MTG found the perfect way to make fans pay $40 for 10 basic lands, which is about the secret lair with the questionable shaped design on the island. This article seems to suggest that perhaps the inclusion of such a suggestive card was an intentional way to drive sales. And I guess if that's true, then I'd rather that WotC were doing this than whatever is going on with that Chaos Vault nonsense that we just talked about. At least this way for your money, instead of getting ripped off, you get to keep a Vag Island. The 24th of January, Innistrad Remastered releases. It's a great set marred by its high price, lack of expected reprints and lack of marketing focus from WotC. But forget about that, we've got other sets coming. The 28th of January, Wizards.com. Statement on Aetherdrift artwork for Sky Sovereign console flagship, which simply reads, "We are aware of an error on all treatments of the special guests version of Sky Sovereign console flagship from Aetherdrift. The artist credit incorrectly lists Kagado Studio in all languages. The correct credit is Emiri Sakabishira. I would say this is further evidence of WotC's lack of quality control, presumably as a result of their rush to put out product, but I'm sure mistakes like this are just a one-off." The 6th of February, BleedingCool.com. Magic the Gathering Hasbro Legendary announced live action universe. Hooray! This is something I've been advocating for a long time. The article says that Legendary Entertainment and Hasbro are teaming up to create a live action feature film and television universe. Based on early plans, it looks like Magic the Gathering will begin as a feature film and then expand out into television, with other projects in the franchise's expanding universe also in development. Excellent news! A year on, we've not heard much of this partnership, but I hope it's successful and can spark interest in Magic's original lore, much in the same way the television show Arcane did for the game League of Legends. The 6th of February, Wargamer.com. Fantasy author Brandon Sanderson nails the problem with modern MTG lore. And if that's true, Brandon Sanderson must hate Magic the Gathering. Sanderson is an author who said on his podcast, "For the first time in forever, I'm not really that excited for a new Magic release, and I've been trying to analyse why." He then goes on to talk about what are now commonly called hat sets, by saying the characters in these settings feel like they're dressing up to act out tropes, like they were on the holodeck. He said Aetherdrift feels like wacky races, like instead of going to cool places and experiencing that world, the characters are just play acting. Of course, this is a sentiment widely shared by the community, and a design direction that many players feel is a mistake which will damage Magic in the long term. I would say this is further evidence of WotC's lack of quality control, presumably as a result of their rush to put out product, but I'm sure mistakes like this are just a one-off. The 11th of February, Wizards.com, introducing Commander Brackets Beta, in which Gavin Verhey, on behalf of the newly created Commander Format panel, introduced a new numbering system designed to help people navigate Rule Zero conversations in Commander. It's only a beta and so has been updated since its introduction, and the system overall seems to be viewed as a generally positive addition to the game, but I still hold reservations, as when this bracket system was first discussed, the WotC officials behind it made it clear that they don't play, don't understand, and don't really like Commander that much. And given how WotC have demonstrated their willingness to not only change what Commander is on a fundamental level, but also warp the rest of Magic around it in the name of profits, I feel I can be forgiven for being skeptical of their motivations when they introduce new systems like this. But then again, I'm speaking mostly of Mark Rosewater and Aaron Forsyth there, and not Gavin Verhey or anyone on the format panel, who I'm sure do actually care about the game, so perhaps my caution is unwarranted. The 14th of February, Aetherdrift releases, a set steeped in issues and one whose quality was hotly debated at the time. A year on, I think sentiment has generally come to consider this set to be a bad one overall, though I may be coming around on it myself personally. But forget about that, we've got other sets coming. The 23rd of February, PCGamer.com, Magic the Gathering's last set for 2025 will be Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I remain shocked at just how fast WotC seem to want to move the conversation onto the next set each time a new one comes out. Aetherdrift had just released and the news has already moved on to talking about Avatar. But forget about that, we've got other sets coming. The 26th of February, Wizards.com, celebrate your local game stores community and Magic Presents Pride, in which WotC announced participating game stores will host a special Commander event where every Commander is considered to have partner. I've said it before, but I love this sort of event and I wish WotC would do more things like it. Perhaps an event where only green decks are legal to celebrate Earth Day or something. Imagine what they could do for International Talk Like a Pirate Day. However, I maintain that every Commander having partner for the Pride event carries the subtle implication that if you're single you don't count as being gay or whatever, which is a bit odd, but then I admit I'm probably overthinking that. Participants were given a traditional foil promo of Chromatic Lantern and I think that's rad. Good job, WotC. And that's the broken news. Let me know your thoughts on everything we've covered here today in the comments below. And if you'd like to support me to bring in more videos like this, please come check out my Patreon, linked in the description below too. And I know at the mention of my Patreon the majority of people would have clicked off the video. So let me take this opportunity to read to you the lyrics of a surprisingly motivational song. I'm the Scat Man. Skip dib dibbly dob yob dob dob. Yo dob dob dob. Skibbity dibbly dibbly yo dob dob dob. Yo dob dob dob. I'm the Scat Man. Skibbly dibbly dibbly yo dob dob dob. Yo dob dob dob. Skibbly dibbly dibbly yo dob dob dob. Yo dob dob dob. Ba-da ba 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 da ba da ba bop 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 ba do dop bop. Bop bop ba do do dop bop bop. Ba bop bop ba do bop 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 ba do bop bop ba do bop. Ba da ba 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 do bop 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 ba do bop bop. Bop ba do bop bop bop. Ba bop bop ba do bop 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 ba do bop bop bop. Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't let nothing hold you back. If the Scat Man can do it, so can you. Everybody's saying that the Scat Man stutters, but doesn't ever stutter when he sings. But what you don't know, I'm going to tell you right now, that the stutter and the scat is the same thing. Yo, I'm the Scat Man. Where's the Scat Man? I'm the Scat Man. Genuinely inspirational. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone that supports me, like 27 publications, Eggboy the Particle that permeates all existence, Blank Space, Wanpako Jozu, Miss Murder, a random Patreon, Ominous Jazz, and the rest of my patrons whose names are on screen now. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for this video, me and my Patreon page, where you can get your name credited on screen too. Check it out in the link in the description below. Hit the like button, leave a comment, as if you were the Scat Man. Most importantly, subscribe and share this video with a friend. Hit the notification bell and do all those things the algorithm loves. What have I just done to my comment section? If you agree or disagree with any of my points, or you want to see me do a video on another subject, let me know and I will see you next time. Which is an article recounting the story of how the artist of Hyalopterus, lemur